We had a lot of veterans coming transitioning, a lot of guys and girls coming from Iraq and Afghanistan, transitioning from military life to academic civilian lives. And there were a lot of barriers, one being the bureaucracies in our systems. So helping them navigate through the bureaucracies, let's say, and obtaining, for instance, their indexable credits or transferable credits for trainings they had as military persons, for courses they took in other countries, which were relative to what their majors were. I was able to discuss with chair people of each, I would say, each department, for instance, biology, social work department, and help them obtain the credits that they were rightfully due. And I tell you, it was really rewarding. I met a lot of great veterans, a lot of great people in general, and it was just a very intrinsically fulfilling role.
So I would imagine in someone in your capacity, you have an opportunity to form new relationships and many relationships in that position, and we're very thankful that you were able to be a light to those that needed to readjust and help them walk through navigating a very complex system at times. And school is something commendable. So I'm thankful that you're able to be in that capacity. But forming relationships, and there's many mentoring opportunities. Did you partake in any other programs that led you to build any special kind of bonds or mentorship relationships and maintain them?
I sure did. One program was the Urban Male Leadership Program, again at Lehman College. This is a program not only for males, not only for urban males, but for all. And with that, I had an opportunity to mentor, and I was grateful to be able to mentor an English as a second language student, a young lady who was struggling from the Dominican Republic with her comp in literature, and was able to help bring her. She brought herself there from a C to an A in comp in literature and a couple of other English courses. I also mentored a young Marine.
A
young Marine, Army
Great.
Man.
There you go.
Mentoring a Marine.
Hey, who says we can't work together? We do
Oh,
in
yeah.
an outside service. So
Yeah, we have a beautiful relationship, my mentee and myself. I was able to, again, help him transition. One of his issues was housing. Besides the academic issues and setting time to study, there was housing issues. He came home to live back with his mom and ended up needing some more independence. He was starting a young family. He was married to a young lady who was also a Marine, and they had a young little baby Marine.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, the most beautiful thing to see, a baby girl. And I had the privilege and honor to be able to allow them to live with me for a while. They stayed with me, roommated with me for a while, for about a year, and I encouraged them to, get some more wind beneath their wings and obtain them their own apartment. So after a year, they moved out and got their own apartment. They're doing great, and he's out there again. He's abroad, and she's doing some great work right here stateside. And we stay in contact. We still have that mentor-mentee relationship. I think it's grown more to brother to brother.
That's a beautiful transformation.
Oh yeah.
And having through mentorships, and you have the opportunity to pass that down and offer that opportunity to other people, and that's a beautiful thing. So it all comes back to you 360 tenfold in terms of mentorship and getting support, because you never know. Everybody has something to offer, and the support is so very important, and families need each other and hold each other down, so you never know how that blessing can come back to you. So as I also understand, in looking a little bit at your profile, that besides the military, working with the military affairs, that you also work with the student bodies and helping form a veterans club. What was that experience like? Why don't you tell us?
Oh yeah, I love LOV, Legion of Veterans Club. I
thought it was Trent Love. No,
yeah, you're Captain Love. Yeah, we started Love, LOV, which stands for the Legion of Veterans Club. It started with about a handful of us, not even about 3 of us, grew to 5, and we're growing. Back in 2010, I got together with a couple of the guys that were visiting the Office of Military and Veterans Club, and we decided to start up a club of our own, the Office of Military and Veterans Department at Lehman, and we decided to start a club. we were fortunate enough to disseminate information on campus, where lo and behold, there was a lot more veterans, student veterans, registered to Lehman than we ever imagined. So little by little, the student veterans started trickling in, and we were able to. I mean, the camaraderie was wonderful. Great bonds and friendships blossomed out of this. All branches. I mean, you had Army, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, Navy, you name it. From World War II era all the way till now, we had guys all over the place. You didn't have to be an actual student. You could have been a worker at Lehman College and joined us. Could have been a family member and joined us. So I mean, it was just a real, I would say, real channel for us to be able to, get together, communicate, disseminate information, fellowship, go out. We went out to various events, and it just kind of kept us together, kept us motivated to continue academics. We discussed our academic issues, veterans issues, other, civilian issues, and just put it on the table as we went on. I served as a secretary for a while there. Then I graduated, and I had to pass the torch over, and yeah.
Well, that's great to be able to leave a legacy.
Yeah.
Leaving a legacy. So I commend you for that.
Thank you, Trent.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great thing. And students and veterans that are there are more and more returning veterans using their educational benefits or their entitlements or programs is very important. And we had in another episode a representative. Her name was Juan, and she came and spoke previously about the Student Veterans Association. That is one outlet or option, or there are members that are veterans that go to schools and form their own independent clubs as well. And you can be a member of both, from what I've learned. So don't be afraid. If you're looking and seeking education, don't be afraid to seek some groups or clubs out, because they're there to support you, it sounds like. And we have people like Cesar here to help you, and he seems like a lifelong mentor. But another part of your resume I'm seeing we're connecting the dots here is not only are you a social worker, and it seems that you love to serve and are very passionate about what you do, there's another part that's very intriguing, and equine enthusiast. Okay. What's that about?
All right, man. I mean, ever since I saw the Lone Ranger or Zorro, I wanted to be like them. I wanted to be Zorro. I wanted to be the Lone Ranger. Then I figured out I look more like Tonto. But I loved horses ever since I can remember. And I was fortunate enough to have family both in Panama and in Puerto Rico that had horses. And so whenever I'd visit, I was able to interface with horses, and I learned a lot about the animal, and always wanted a horse for myself as a young kid. Never thought during my adolescence I still loved horses, and never thought I'd ever own a horse. I'm a Bronxite again, and I was fortunate enough to have my horses here in the Bronx.
That's a good part. We'll get into the taking care of. Where do you park a horse? What kind of permits you need? Well, go ahead. Tell us a story about the horses and where they're currently doing, and your passion for this. He's glowing, by the way. I know this is radio talk. He's glowing because you're really excited about talking about horses.
Yep, I love my horses, man.
Go ahead, talk to me.
I tell you what, I first was as a kid. I was introduced to a couple of stables in the Bronx where I dreamt of owning a horse. During my military service, I traveled out west a little bit, and I was able to obtain a white blanket Appaloosa. His name is Lightning. He's my first son.
Wow.
Yeah, and Lightning is a very trusty horse, but when I first bought him, he was a handful. Nobody wanted to ride him. They told me I was crazy for buying a crazy horse, and I told them no, I just got to work with him, man. And lo and behold, we joined up, and we became battle buddies. For instance, Lightning is very trusty, loyal. He knows it's a 2-year-old on his back. He knows the 80-year-old on his back, and he's very good with women and children. Guys, you got to watch out a little bit, but he's really good with women and children. I mean, horses have their own personalities. Kind of just kidding, but I see that he gravitates more to the female persuasion.
Okay. Okay, you got to watch out for Lightning. So what about the word join, from what I understand from a couple previous education. That's equine process, or what is the joining process mean when you bring a new horse in? Is that a term?
Yeah, sure. I mean, when you get I don't like using the phrase breaking a horse, because I believe the whole process kind of breaks the horse's spirit. I'm all about reinforcing the spirit of the animal, the spirit of the person. Joining is a more subtle, more time-consuming process. I mean, you literally have to become the leader of the herd. You have to become a horse. And you may laugh.
The human has to become the horse.
You got to become a horse.
So what you got to do? Eat with the horse?
Yeah. I'm glad you said that, Trent. Mentioned eating with the horse. One of the things we do is, for a horse that really hasn't had any human contact, it's pretty much a wild horse, and we're strange creatures. Again, they're prey animal, so they're fight or flight, and it's usually flight. And they can become dangerous if they're intimidated, if they're spooked. So it's a process. The first thing you want to do is, let's say, for instance, if they're grazing, you may want to go out into the paddock with them and keep in a safe distance, of course. Let them see you there. They'll see you there. You may want to act like you're grazing. Maybe kind of just kneel down or squat a little bit. Pull grass out of the ground. Act like you're eating it a little bit. Be real calm. They're looking at your body language, your gestures. You don't want to make any real sudden movements. You want to let them know that they're okay with you, approximately 20, 30 feet away from them. Day by day, get a little closer, little closer, and a little closer until the horse lets you actually be practically up on them. And with that, then it's all about touch. You want to touch the animal. If the animal lets you touch them, that's a good sign. You also want to be mindful of the signs, the body language and cues of the horse. If the horse is agitated, their ears might pin back. They might start chomping on their bit if they have a bit in their mouth. They'll become friendlier to you. A relationship starts with the touch, the touch of the animal. Know you're gentle. You can't let the animal sense that you fear them, or that you're apprehensive of them, or they will feed off that energy. It's all about energy, and hence the animal keeps its spirit while being able to join up with a human being. The relationship grows from there. Now there's close proximity. You guys are interacting. There is, of course, a lot of touch involved. You're probably hugging the animal, kissing them. I'm sure when you're close enough to the animal, as much of a tough guy as you may be, you will find yourself hugging and kissing the horse.
I never been through this process, but I'm interested and I'm learning more. And I do know from many studies, and many people have given feedback that we can use these animals, or use these horses in particular, in equine therapy to heal. We'll talk a little bit more about that, but before we do, I wanted to ask you how important it seems like these things that you are doing, or one would do, to get closer to the horse and emulate and pattern their behavior, is to build trust. How important is trust in this process?
It's crucial. The animal has to trust you, and you have to be able to trust your animal. The animal looks to you for leadership. The horse looks to you for leadership. Again, you become battle buddies, become partners. But again, you're the lead horse. So the horse is pretty much feeding off of your energy, feeding off of your confidence, and the trust factor is very crucial. To have a safe ride, to have a real relationship with your horse, which also is transferable to human interpersonal skills and emotional, behavioral aspects of our lives, where sometimes we have trust issues, trusting another human being.
Right.
And that is one of the many therapeutic values of the horse is having that relationship, that trust relationship.
Well, let's talk more about that, and from your experience as a person, or as someone who has worked with horses and is a social worker. Let's talk about the field of equine therapy and how it relates.
I'm glad you asked. I want to be an equine psychotherapist when I grow up, and hopefully, it'll be a few years till I can actually become clinical. but I'm working my way little by little to that, and it's a growing field. It's something, again, I've been very passionate about, mixing my passion for horses and my profession. My love of being in the helping professions and being of service. I want to culminate those two together to bring forth an equine psychotherapeutic program, utilizing the horse as a vehicle towards optimal health, and whatever system that may need it. I mean, everywhere from mental health to physiological issues, to emotional, behavioral, to post-traumatic stress. The horse has been proven to be very therapeutic in all these areas and much more. The horse has been with us for centuries. I mean, beyond, for thousands of years. The horse has been with us.
Right. What about any other benefits to returning veterans that they could face in using that, not only for themselves but for their families? Is this also a family type event, or is it more one-on-one? Can kids or children benefit from this as well?
The horse therapy can be individual, and it can be a group thing. It's usually on a one-on-one basis where the actual person is riding or leading a horse or actually interacting with the animal, whether it's petting the horse, a senior citizen, a veteran's grandmother petting the horse, or a veteran's 2-year-old daughter just getting her first pony ride. It can be therapeutic all around. It can be entertainment. It does bring families together. Families do something really cool, different. I mean, imagine the Bronx. A lot of people don't go horseback riding, even though
that's true.
That's
true. We need to see more of that.
Yeah.
What about any other events or opportunities that you could see this being practically implemented, such as you mentioned one, maybe a fair, or what kind of programming do you think that this can fit into?
Well, apart from the therapeutic value or the actual program, the equine psychotherapy program, which I'm envisioning to someday be able to launch, again, entertainment-wise, I've had very good friends who are very credible in the horse world community, and they're very much predisposed to facilitate pony parties, street fairs, any type of event that a horse can be implemented. Hay rides.
Yeah, that's pretty popular. I've seen the hay ride with pet ponies or miniature horses. I don't know the difference.
Yeah.
You are the equine enthusiast. I happen to enjoy watching and seeing the thrill and the smile on the children's face as they go for a Halloween hayride or being with a pony, a horse.
I tell you what, Trent, I loved it. I do these street fairs sometimes. They'd ask me to give them a hand drive. Look over we usually gave young kids the job of walking the ponies, but every once in a while, I grab a pony and put a couple of buckaroos on the horse. I'd wear my cowboy hat, and the kids, some of them would cry out of terror because they didn't want to get on that pony. But once they were on that pony, to get them off was the problem. They'd be crying because they don't want to get off that horse. So I mean, the therapeutic value, the fun the kids have, just introducing them to something. Child, controlling a 500 to 800 pound animal. It builds self-confidence. It gives them, a can-do attitude, and it plays out in life. It gives them the confidence to tackle, other huger things in life. It gives them that, yeah.
What are some of the feedback that you would get? Is the ride itself soothing in and of itself, or for the people that have been a part of either equine studies or equine working with horses? What's some of the feedback that they would say?
Oh, it ranges so broadly. I volunteered for a equine psychotherapy program out in Manhattan, and we had children that had multiple sclerosis, MD. We had children who had severe autism. We had paraplegic children. We had children who were amputees, and so it was varied depending on the situation. Let's say, for instance, there was this one child, very severely autistic. And I had the pleasure of walking the pony while he was on the pony. The child was 8 years old, never said a word in his life. His mother was brought to tears. I believe it was the fourth weekend, where the child muttered his first words, and we were egging the child on to egg the horse on to walk, and we tell the child, say walk, walk, and the child muttered out walk, and he did it again, and this is the first word that the child ever said. So I tell you what, I believe, I can testify that the therapy is good. The child was motivated enough to say walk. There's also been more range of movement in the pelvic area, the pelvic muscles. Physiologically, the therapeutic value of the horse is also very valuable. I mean, there are people who have very limited movement. For instance, persons that may be paralyzed somewhat, and there has been proven that the movement of a person while they're on top of a horse is very relative to they're getting more movement, more range of movement. So the feedback for the physical progress has been great. Those are two examples. I have many more.
It's great that you can relate those stories. That's wonderful, because it's showing a direct impact for those that are involved in being used in a way. And like you said before, and this is a area that has, when I say this, we're broadcasting currently right now out of the Bronx. It is an underserved community in terms of its economics, as well as in terms of these resources of having a lack of horses. We don't see them very often. So this is a great thing, and it can be used in so many ways. So I'm really intrigued by this conversation, and I will have to visit and get on a horse and give you some feedback from another perspective as well. Is there anything else that you wanted to add, that this vision that you have for an equine studies program can benefit the people, and maybe start? What is your vision for a program, if that's something that you would like to be?
Thanks, Trent. Well, I envision someday having a ranch, and being able to facilitate an inpatient residential program spanning from middle childhood to older persons, older adults, spanning different afflictions, different maladies, different issues that persons may have, whether it's substance abuse, whether it's mental health, whether it's emotional behavior, whether it's physiological. I believe that a nice ranch would be able to facilitate a good program. Maybe 10 horses, startup kit, a little startup kit. I mean, it's still in the works.
That sounds like it's going to be, and it's definitely providing measurable results and helping people. That's wonderful, but it sounds like it would be a costly kind of program to have a horse. I don't have a horse, let alone wouldn't even know or imagine what it would be like to finance 10 horses. For the scale of what you're talking about, in your experience, what kind of estimate that would take to launch a program like that? I think it's a beautiful thing, but maybe we have someone listening that can help in that way, get it started to some degree. Well, what would it take?
That would be a true blessing. It would take, I'm roughly approximating, don't quote me, approximately $2 million to start, to get the, I would want to start with 10 acres. Would need to build a stable for the horses, build housing for the students, for the clients, and be able, of course, to take care of your animals, medical needs, the medical needs of our children and our patients. So we would have to have a professional staff, clinical staff, medical staff on board. Of course, it costs money to run programs like this.
I'm sure.
Yeah, and so I mean, it's all about planning and meeting people that are willing to help. And I'm very optimistic that this vision will come to fruition at some point.
With there being so many programs, because there are other programs about equine studies, and I would like to know what makes you or your program that you're envisioning to be different than any of the others.
Well, I'm very passionate about this. This is something that's at the core of my being, something that I was introduced as a child, and I just believe I'm an old soul for horses. I really, really love my animals. I know I can testify for the therapeutic value of them. Again, I'm very passionate about this. My horses are my sons. They're my family. They're my immediate family, and people love their cats and dogs like their children. I love my boys, and it's just something that I really, really want to share. It's something that was a rarity. I'd go back to the block and say, I got horses. And the guys be like, come on, yeah. And they'd all have a good laugh at me. Until one day they see me riding down Pelham Parkway or Fordham Road with my horse.
Oh, I do remember there was horses down Pelham Parkway. Were you involved with that? Were those your horses?
Absolutely. I had a couple of horses over there. And at the time, we were there for over a decade. My girlfriend and I were there as a community. It was a community of us. And, we served our community, non-profit, not-for-profit, didn't ask for a dollar. People would come. They had, I would say, grandparents who remembered their early childhood experiences with pony rides on that same land we were on. It was a running stable for at least a century. And we were there for a while. Unfortunately, we were disenfranchised by the powers that be. I fought tooth and nail for about 3 years to maintain us there. Oh, God, there was such negative propaganda. I fought. But, when you're going against certain entities, sometimes you have to take the L to win at the end. So we relocated upstate, and now our boys are over in Long Island. But we're in the Bronx for a while, and we shared that with the community. I would go over to my old neighborhood and seeing the kids, that kind of looked up to me when they were growing up. And, some of them were gangbanging and stuff like that. And I tell them, hey, listen, you got to put that color away. And you got to put that color away if you want to come hang out with me with the horses just while we're there. And they'd do it. And they didn't know they were hanging out with the enemy. And they became friends. And some of these guys went on to high school. To finish high school. And some went to college. And, left that life alone. So I've seen the impact of horses. I would just bring them over to hang out with me. And they'd come over religiously on their own, to visit me.
It sounds like you have a lot to offer, not only the community, and for many, I know the community of the background of where you said geographically, there are many challenges and many things that are impacting you, and every day for us is not always a bright day. We make the most of it. Can you tell us about some of those times or those difficult moments that you faced? What was that like?
Oh, this is true, Trent, and this is usually a touchy subject. However, I think that when you share your pain, you lessen that pain. You give it away, and someone else can use that maybe to be preventive or to seek help. I myself have been afflicted with certain various things in life. Poverty. I guess desaturation of our environment and some of the issues that I told you guys about earlier, which led me to decide to join the military. However, I didn't disclose one main issue that may be considered taboo in many minds, and this is the affliction of addiction, the disease of addiction, which I have battled with for many years. I started with alcohol. I started drinking a lot post 9/11. I thought the world was going to be over. I said, this is it. And so I was always on edge, and I knew, I was on call. I worked very long hours, stressful. I was on orders, and after 12 hours on duty, I'd go have some beer, and this became an everyday thing. And just to be the same, I had to drink, and it progressed. It progressed to a full-blown addiction, where I found myself hitting rock bottom, many different rock bottoms, and battling and grappling with it. And I was judged by many. I was shunned by many more. And it's something that made me kind of clam up and close up. And I didn't want to tell nobody. I didn't want to disclose it. Outside, I was looking fierce, but inside, I was dying. And I was just too man. I'm Latino. There's the macho thing. There is the military, you know, that you're a warrior, you're a soldier, but it takes courage to really talk about, you know, your pain, what you're going through, your suffering. It's not taboo, you know. Again, there's a phrase I like: those who judge don't count, and those who count don't judge. And you know, nowadays I encourage whoever may be facing this type of issue to talk about it. There's help. There's so many different outlets for veterans, for civilians, if there's civilians, you know, watching the show. But you know, and the youth, you know, because from 18 to 34 years old, that's a very high risk age. You know, we're trying to find we're trying to be industrious. You know, we're still in that peer group kind of thing, whether we're 30 or not. You know, and we're trying to find our place, our niche in the world. And sometimes alcohol and drugs make it a lot more easier, or just medicates the pain. And you know, for myself, it became a problem. It became a real problem. So I sought help. I sought help through various different channels, and there's always going to be help out there. Just talk about it, man. You know, again, those who judge don't count. Those who count don't judge.
Is there anything in particular that you might want to share that has been helpful to you, although there is no one shoe fits all?
No, there is
I
no
wish
one
there
shoe
was,
fits all.
but
I
maybe
mean,
sharing something that has been helpful to you may be helpful to others as you continue to be productive. And you're on track, but I'm sure it hasn't been easy.
no, it hasn't been easy. It's been a battle. I tell you what, every day I wake up, I say that prayer. I says, you know, I ask God to lift any stinking thinking from my mind, I say. And there are other fellowships that are available, that have helped me throughout this. I mean, there are institutions that have helped, which have also been part of my recovery, my, you know, getting me back. There's been fellowships, anonymous fellowships, which can help depending on your addiction, your affliction. There's also, I know that military people, for one, I mean, I can see a veteran across the room with a World War II hat, and I'm walking over to that guy and I'm telling him thanks, and right there's a connection. I mean, if you have a fellow friend, a veteran, my veteran friends are very empathetic, very sympathetic to whatever I'm going through. I'm their brother, whether I served with them in the same unit or just met them at school. I'm their brother. You know, Trent has helped me out throughout, you know, a couple of situations, which I'm grateful for, and you know, we're there for each other. You know, not everybody's going to understand it, but there's help, guys. Again, just an open mouth, a closed mouth won't get fed. You know, a squeak, you know, a door that won't squeak won't get oiled. So, you know, squeak, man. Open your mouth, and there's help out there, guys. Believe it or not.
Right, and put your dreams out into the universe, and your stories, share your stories, because this is partially the reason that this channel vehicle opportunity exists, is to share your stories and connect us as veterans, connect us to veteran and non-veterans, because we're all serving together. You know, we're still out here in the community, and if there's any program or any way that we can support you in your endeavor, let us know. Do you think there's anything that within Show that can help facilitate you in your life's journey to be more successful? Call it out.
Sure. Well, I heard about the mission continues, and it's really intrigued me. How do I get down?
Okay. Well, it's great. You're serving and inspiring. As a current fellow, I'm glad that you asked, and I'll be more than willing and happy to share the information. But the mission continues. I am on a fellowship, as some people in the audience may know or don't know. It provides veterans, post 9/11 veterans, such as yourself, and you are in that category, to continue to serve and inspire and challenge veterans to serve and inspire in communities across America, which it seems like what you're doing. Just to give you a quick information overview, it's www.missioncontinues.org. And coming up next, we do have another fellow. Is in the studio. His name is Claude Copeland, and he will share his story about his fellowship with the Mission Continues. So right now, Mr. Cesar's taking copious notes as I just named out the program, and they do have fellowships, they do have opportunities, and it's a wonderful program. It is. It's great. I would love for you to partake in that if that's something that you want to do.
I'd really like that.
Okay, well, this is you just called it out to the universe, so I'd be more than happy to facilitate in any kind of way. No, it's not my program. Vetchat Show is my program.
Vetchat Show.
But we support one another. We all support each other. So it is tied in. They support the work that I do. They support outreach efforts and identifying people in the community that are doing wonderful things. And man, you and your horses, we got to get out there.
We sure do, man. Maybe we can go out there. You bring your video camera. We do some documentary or something.
That. We could do that.
That'd be nice, man.
Yeah, the weather's going to break. It is cold here in New York at the moment, and this is a global this is a global broadcast, but it's a little bit cold. So I am looking forward in New York City the change of weather and what the spring will bring, and looking forward to shedding that coat and ranching up. What do I need? A cowboy hat? What do I need to bring?
We'll get you that.
Saddle?
We'll get you squared away.
You can get me
We'll get you squared away, love. Get some good looking chapstick, a couple of pair of boots, a hat. You know, no spurs.
No, we'll get out on a. Does that hurt the horse?
We'll get out there. I don't think it really hurt. It can hurt the horse.
Okay.
I mean, if it's used somewhat gently, it won't. But I don't use those spurs. I really.
You got the trust going.
They really
follow
use
your
saddle.
command.
Yep.
So that's great. In the last couple of minutes, well, we got a little bit of time. Is there anything else that we haven't covered right now that you would like to talk about in the remaining minutes that we have for this segment?
I mean, we've covered quite a good deal of topics. However, I just want to put out there, I just want to re-emphasize for those veterans who may be going through anything, say something. There's a lot of help out there. Listen in again. Call Trent up. Call up the radio station. Talk to Trent. Hopefully, somebody's out there who's going to empathize with you. I mean, sometimes we see the world as such a cold place, but again, we're a band of brothers and sisters, and that's something that's embedded in us. I think we get that in our service, and again, I mean, it's an honor and a privilege for us to be able to help one another. So whether it's addiction, whether it's PTS, whether it's some physiological problems, whether it's personal, financial, whether it's family issues, I'm sure that one-on-ones with our fellow brothers and our sisters in arms, it would be very helpful. And we get more information as we talk about it. We learn more about ourselves. I mean, this chat show is therapeutic. Me just sitting here and talking to you, man. It's like, whoa, it feels
I
good.
Appreciate it. I can see that you're reflecting a lot about the horses, but
that always
that's
feels good.
okay too. That's your passion, and it's great to hear your story and listen to what that brings and bring it out to the universe. But yeah, definitely we'll work on getting some video out there. Vetschatshow Show is not only a radio program, but we're going to have it also visual in television and multimedia through mobile platforms coming next quarter in a month or so. So if for the moment, I definitely thank you. You've been a wonderful guest, and I'm sure we'll hear more about you and your work, and look forward to great things. I'm sure the universe is out there listening, and that's a great thing about internet radio and just the power of that. Even if we weren't on the radio or internet, just our positive thinking when we put it out there, we'll be amazed at what happens and how it connects each other, and we're all connected. So I appreciate you, comrade. I want everybody to stay tuned to more on Vetchat Show. We'll be coming back and hearing from another special person, Claude, and he'll be sharing his story as a Mission Continues fellow. So thanks again, Cesar, for coming on to Vetchat Show. It's been a wonderful time.
Thank you so much, Trent.
All right, we're going to go to break. Appreciate it.